What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the Brew-Lab with me, Lone Fox, your Brewmaster-in-Chief. And tonight, in the Brew-Lab, I'm coming at you with another episode of Spoiler Talk, Part 3. They do slow down a bit during the weekends. It's to be expected, so not much to get through. So this is going to be a nice, quick, short video, and I'll just kind of go over the two that were already spoiled when I finished recording yesterday, and then we'll just go through the rest. Tori Davenant now, in retrospect, probably a little less hyped on it than I initially was. I always kind of finish recording the spoiler talk episodes, then I rewatch what I've just said, and then I go to bed and I lie on my phone and kind of read through the cards once more time. So I need them all to penetrate deeply into my mind so that the brews can start coming, especially as early as the early access event. But Tori Davenant, we're definitely going to try jam it into some brews, but like I said yesterday, there's not a Boros Pain land, and the Snarls and the Pathways are rotating out, so Boros is going to be quite tough to play. And this does seem like it should be going in some sort of an aggro deck, so I don't know. But we're still definitely going to play it. I like the effect. All the red creatures gain trample, all the white ones get pseudo-vigilance. Pretty cool. I guess if there was a way to give it haste, other than Reckless Stormseeker, which is a pretty good way of giving it haste, but some other card that we get that we can give it haste on it, when it enters the battlefield, then it might just get a little bit more interesting. But then the Keldon Flame Sage, I was initially, it's the side of me that is the jank lord, and I like janky stuff. So yeah, there's some really janky stuff that you can do with this. Again, probably with something like Reckless Stormseeker. You play Reckless Stormseeker on turn 3, play this out on turn 4, give it the +1/+0 from the Stormseeker, give it haste. Maybe you've played another 1 and 2 drop along the way to make it even bigger with the enlist. You get to look at some, you might get the odd free card, free instant or sorcery off of it. But there's probably better stuff that you could be doing with 3 mana. Is this better than Fable of the Mirror Breaker or Reckless Stormseeker or I don't know. So we'll have to see. But again, the janky side of me is pretty excited about being able to cast stuff for free and what weird stuff we can come up with. Maybe there's a crazy big fireball spell that we can kill the opponent in one shot somehow. So I'm still gonna give this a whirl. But now onto some real new stuff that we haven't seen yet. We've got Protect the Negotiators. Instant speed, 1 and a blue, and then you can kick it for an additional white. And if it was kicked, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, and you can counter target spell unless its controller pays 1 for each creature you control. Ooh, Azorius Tempo card for sure. That's a really cool counterspell. I like that. I'm not a huge fan of counterspells, but when I do play them, I like to play good ones. And this seems pretty good to me. In the right deck. It seems like there's a slowly but surely a brew that's emerging with lots of little tokens. The fact that there's kind of signaling with this card that it may be a Azorius deck and not just mono white weenies is something that I'm quite into. Play this alongside the Benalia lady, the indestructible one, and a bunch of other. There's that flash 2/2 that makes a 1/1 soldier. Suddenly, you can kick it. You make another soldier. You've got a few more on the board. The opponent has to pay 3, 4, whatever to count. To pay for the counter. I think that's pretty nice. I think that's pretty damn nice. I can't wait to see what other. I also always watch everybody else's spoiler episodes and stuff, and I love getting various other opinions. Some of them differ greatly from mine, and that really is cool in my opinion. So anyway, Protect the Negotiators. Nice little counterspell for an Azorius deck. Go wide. Tempo deck for sure. Next up, we've got Yavi Maya, the Iconoclast. Ooh, an elf. So Gruul. This is cool. This is a really cool card. If you stop and think about it for a second. Like in your modified decks, when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it comes into play with +1/+1 and gains haste until the end of turn, so you can play it on turn 3. And it's a 4/3 with haste and trample in your modified deck. Or you can just play it on 2 and you know, you get a 3/2 with trample. The trample is there, it's keyword ability, it's not added by the kicker or anything like that. So I think really nice little uncommon that I'm like, I mentioned it yesterday, and I'm not trying to say that the Gruul deck that I put up yesterday is going to be the de facto best aggro deck in the format, because it obviously is not. It's sitting on around 55-58% win rate. I'm winning about 1 in every 2 matches. It was just something really fun to pass the time between now and rotation. But since Gruul and Rakdos, you know, other kind of color combinations that you could associate with more aggro style of gameplay, there, you know, if we go back, let's have a quick look. You know, it's a short episode of spoiler talk, so I can blab a little bit longer than usual. But when we go back and look at the pain lands that we do have so far, there's probably going to be some sort of tempo deck with Izzet. I'm really hoping there's something cool to do with Orzhov that's more aggro-ish, but usually the more aggro decks are Gruul and Rakdos. So those both got a pain land. So I really hope that in a good, like, modified Gruul aggro deck, that Yavi Maya Iconoclast becomes a significant part of that. And I not only hope, but I believe that that is the case. So let's see if my predictions stand the test of time in only a couple of weeks' time, or even less than that at this point. What's the date? The 21st. Ooh, it's getting so close. Next up, we got Strength of the Coalition. You'll notice all of these color combinations, you know, where it's the kicker of 2 different colors are the ones that received a pain land, but not this one. And that's interesting to me. So they still expect, I mean, the gap between Dominaria United and Brothers War is going to be very short. We get Brothers War sometime early November, so we'll get the rest of the cycle, and you know, these cards are going to still be around. It's not like they're rotating out, so some of these might be things that are like a little bit of a hint at what's to come. But this one is nice, little 1 mana instant. A target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. But then if you kick it for 4, then it becomes a little bit, I don't know, like compared to these other uncommons, this one feels a little bit more like draft chaff to me, because 4 is a lot of mana. But you know, +2/+2 and oh, sorry, it's on each creature you control. Forget I said anything. That's phenomenal. Sorry, I mean, I should have guessed. I didn't read the card properly, but it's a coalition. Oh, that's actually suddenly way better. 4 mana, you give 1 creature +2/+2, and the rest of your creatures +1/+1, and their counters. And it's not each other creature, it's each creature. So even the one that you target with the +2/+2 will also get... Ooh, that's just up my alley. That's really the type of card I like. I hope we don't have to wait until November for a good aggro Selesnya deck, because it's my kind of jam. But even in like your Naya tokens types decks and things, I think this could be really nice. Keep your eye on Strength of the Coalition. Now that I see that it's for each creature, the cost there is totally justified. Then Dragon Whelp got a reprint. I even played, you know, I wasn't playing, but I've seen, I've held the original. It's a reprint. It's not a very good card, but it's you know, nostalgia to the max. 4 mana, 2/3 flying, and then you can you know, give it more stats, but then if you do this 4 more times, and you have to sacrifice it. Just doesn't seem like the most incredible magic card, and it doesn't even have haste or anything, so probably just a little bit of servicing the boomers with some nostalgia. Then we've got Plaza of Heroes. This one's interesting. Like, we've seen how many legendaries we have, right? in the set. So many legendaries. So, and it comes into play untapped. You can tap it for a mana of any color to cast a legendary spell. It's got 4 things. You know, tap, add one colorless. Tap, add one mana of any color to a legendary spell. Tap, add one mana of any color add one mana of any color among legendary permanents you control. Oh, okay. 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 Oh, so now you've cast something that has multiple colors in its casting cost. It's already on the battlefield, and now you can also tap it for one of the colors that are on that card. That's pretty cool. And then eventually you can also pay 3, exile it, and give a target legendary creature hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. I think it's honestly a really good card. I think it's leaning slightly, just a little bit more towards commander. I can see this being amazing for protecting your commander, for example. But just a pretty good card. Pretty good land. I like it. Just not quite entirely sure what deck it's going to fit into or whatever. But very nice. But finally, let's get into the only mythic from today, and one that we were all expecting, especially those of you who've been reading the stories that they put up on the website. Khan is back, and of the Khans that I've gotten to play with, it seems to be a little bit underwhelming, but we may be completely wrong, especially come Brothers War, when, you know, Urza, the person who created Karn, comes back. We'll probably get an Urza Planeswalker, and there's going to be artifact synergies all over the place, and they've been, you know, signaling this since Kamigawa. There was a lot of artifacts. There's already some very good artifact decks in Kamigawa, so I think a lot, like the majority of the opinions that I've seen online about this card have just been like, meh, what a piece of crap. But let's have a quick read. You create it. You can, you know, the +1, so it's 4 mana, 4 loyalty, you know, colorless planeswalker. For +1, you create a tapped, which is, if it just didn't say tapped, suddenly my opinion would change from like a whatever rating to like I'd give it like an additional 3 points. Like it's really, really a pity that it comes and played tapped. But it's basically just a little mana rock. It's an artifact with tap, add 1 colorless. This mana can't be spent to cast a non-artifact spell. So you'd be playing this in your artifact decks, right? With your oh my goodness, how can I be drawing a blank now? The automaton with ward 2. And all your other cool artifact stuff that we've got going on now, and who knows what else is coming. So, you know, that's not a problem. We'll be casting non-artifact spells all the time. But, you know, artifact spells all the time. So it's just a little bit of ramp for the next turn. It's not an amazing +1, clearly. But eventually, I mean, if you just get to do this a couple times, and you've just got a bunch of these power stones, that's you know, going to help you cast bigger spells, and hopefully we'll get some really good artifacts in the next set, and you know, there's still plenty to be spoiled in this one. The -1 is interesting because, to my, like, from memory, it's the first time that a loyalty ability has required you to pay mana. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I can't think of another planeswalker where you got a first -1 and you pay any amount of mana. So this was, again, one of the spoilers from Marrow's teaser. So, you know, there was a line of rule text that said pay any amount of mana. So -1, pay any amount of mana, and you look at that many cards from the top of your library. So I guess you're using your power stones to do that with, and look at more and more cards. Then you put one of those cards into your hand and the rest at the bottom of your library in random order. A little bit of card advantage. So, I mean, you know, the check boxes that planeswalkers need, you know, it needs card advantage, a cool ultimate, and a way to protect itself. This doesn't have the way to protect itself, so you're going to be needing to curve out nicely with your automatons and things so that there's some stuff in the way. That's why it's cool that it's turn 4, because usually by then you've put down some creatures that you can protect Khan with. And then the -7, then it actually starts to really get my brewing juices flowing, because you get an emblem with tap and untapped artifact you control. This emblem deals 1 damage to any target. So now all your power stones are tapping just to cast stuff with, and you deal damage for each Power Stone, plus whatever other artifact you have. Even if you're attacking with your artifact creatures, they're getting tapped, so you deal a damage to any target and then get through. I think the ultimate is really, really cool. So honestly, like, I think considering all the artifact stuff that we know is coming in the next set, including what we already have now, plus the fact that it's 4 loyalty and it only needs to be +3 times to get to the -7, I'm actually a lot more hyped on this card than the majority of the people that I've seen online. And I think it could be really, really cool and might actually end up being very strong once a couple more sets roll out. So keep your eyes on Khan. Mark my word. Then, second last card of the day, we've got the Monstrous Wall Leech. So it seems this is like a cycle. It's like kicker with 1 mana color of a different one. So this is like a Dimir Leech Horror. Makes sense. It's pretty cool, actually, because it mills. So if it was kicked, you mill 4 cards. So, you know, reanimated deck type things. You mill like a Titan of Industry or whatever, a Toxrill into the yard. When you kick it in for 5, you get a 7/7 because its power and toughness are each equal to the highest mana value among cards in your graveyard. And then, you know, you can reanimate your stuff later on. In the meanwhile, you've got a pretty decent like body, but that's all it has. There's no trample, nothing. I don't think it's a terrible card, honestly. I think it's a pretty good card, but I just don't know if there's better ways of putting things in your graveyard without having to sacrifice a slot for something like this. 5 mana. And if it's just 4 mana, then, you know, maybe it's you've already milled stuff and you've got some power, you know, some expensive. It's not about power, it's about expensive. So highest mana value. We'll definitely play it in some decks, but I don't think it's that amazing. So then we come to August 21st, which is Sunday. So I mean, I'm even surprised there's anything here. Let's give the website one last refresh and see if there's anything. Nope. So we've got a little blue instant, another Dimir instant, kicker for 3 and then 1 blue. So if you just pay the 1 blue, you return target creature or planeswalker you don't control to its owner's hand. It's like a Fading Hope. But it's also for planeswalkers, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice. You know, Fading Hope has the Scry, it doesn't have kicker. This, if you do kick it, you pay 4 total. Then put that permanent on the bottom of the owner's library instead. That's pretty damn nice. I think that's going to be a real pain in my asshole. Yeah. I think that's a really nice little card. And that's all I have to say about it. I mean, it's very clear what the text does. There's no weird lines that I can come up with or combos or anything. It's just a good little instant that people are going to be playing in control decks, and I'm going to be really annoyed when they kick it and put my thing on the bottom of the library. But that is going to be it for today's episode of Spoiler Talk. Nice and short. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite card from today? As far as I'm concerned, it's going to have to either be the Iconoclast or Karn. I'm actually quite hyped on Karn. But I will see you all tomorrow with another fresh brew and another episode of Spoiler Talk. And until then, this is all Lone Fox from the Brew-Lab, signing out. Peace, y'all.